Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give a call on Yahweh by Shin Shai. I'm Officer Apiyat. You know what I'm saying? We're here to conclude our series on reparations. And, the thing is, this was an important piece. Sarge, he really went into it, the meaning of these words, for us to understand that the reparations some people are looking for aren't the only reparations that could be handed out. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention the reparations, though I would accept mine wholeheartedly, are not the reparations we should be looking for, right? And then what exactly are we asking for reparations for? Because you can't really put a price on pain and suffering. You know what I'm saying? We can't put a price on all the lives that we lost in this struggle. So with that said, I wanted to play a couple videos as a reminder of the circumstances that we've been forced to endure in this captivity.
It's the roaring
20s. I'm gonna be joined by my esteemed co-host. His name is
Nahubia.
This is Soldier Nahubia out of the Long Beach Sicari. He got his fresh braids just to be on camera today, so we're proud of the lad. You know what I'm saying? It's good of you. So let's get right into it. Just this is some footage of the Tulsa, what they call massacres, the Greenwood Village or the Greenwood neighborhood, where the people in so-called Black Wall Street were massacred. Let's play it.
It's the roaring 20s. The country is flourishing. Some African American communities are prospering, like the residents of Greenwood in Tulsa, Oklahoma. A remarkable Baptist pastor named Solomon Sir Jones is the pioneering filmmaker. His footage was lost for more than 50 years. Jones captures the bustling life of Greenwood, which could be any American small town. But Tulsa's whites don't like what they see. In May 1921, after a black man is accused of assaulting a white woman, a white mob rampages through the city. For a night and a day, they loot and burn Greenwood. The Fox News crew captures the only surviving footage. It is the bloodiest racial massacre in American history, leaving nearly 300 dead.
So off the top, Black people have the record for the bloodiest massacre being perpetrated on them in American history. I just want that to go on record. Okay, boy. No, that was it. I just wanted people to understand what happened, what the Tulsa Massacre was about. That was just a quick run through to show you that a Baptist preacher had caught it on camera. It was a little bit of footage. You saw the building smoking, but a woman said that she was attacked by a black man, and it caused white people to burn down a city.
As the truth.
That's what happened. So now we're gonna get into this other video real quick, because they're gonna shine some light on some of the things that happened and some facts about the Tulsa Massacre. Bring that out. See, this is one of those accounts that you can't give us reparations for this. There's not a you can't pay us for this. You know what I'm saying? The psychological damage, the actual physical damage. You can't pay for that. There's no way to there's no way to repair that.
He bumped into Sarah, and she screamed. Roland, knowing what Frederick Douglass had penned as the elevator operator, began operating the elevator floor. Sarah Page, a 17-year-old, a white elevator operator, began operating the elevator when it lurched, causing Roland to stumble. He bumped into Sarah, and she screamed. Roland, knowing what Frederick Douglass had penned as the truth with regards to the treatment of black men in America, to be accused was to be convicted, and to be convicted was to be punished.
So that's amazing that black people, so-called black people, which is true for blacks, is true for Hispanics and Latinos, right? And it's true for Native Americans. In a land where they say you're innocent until proven guilty, it's always been, we're treated as if we're guilty just on being accused. See, there's no justice in Esau's system, right? There's really no justice for the captives. So I'm saying, you have to remember that we're not in America to be building with our oppressors and to try to get to the top of their corporate ladder. It's fine if that's where you find yourself, but our job and our purpose in life isn't to be trying to mix in and blend and be a part of Babylon. We trying to separate from Babylon. We trying to get everything right to be delivered out of these hellish conditions, not for us to be trying to be part of this. That's madness. But
in this case, punishment, when it came to the accusations of a white woman, meant death, and knowing her scream was a likely death sentence, young Roland ran away. He was later seized and apprehended with the intent of being lynched. Word of a black man raping a defenseless white girl spread throughout the Tulsa area. Dozens and then hundreds, until a mob of over 2,000 white men gathered at the county courthouse demanding justice. But justice for what? Sarah Page wasn't assaulted. Her clothes weren't ruffled. And though her story wavered during questioning, she ultimately affirmed she was not harmed. Moreover, she refused to sign a statement saying that she had been raped.
pause that.
But don't let the facts get in the way of.
So watch. She even said she wasn't harmed, right? But good old boys got stirred up, and it was already too late. It was already too late to stop the mob, right? Once that rumor mill triggered that mob, it was no way to turn it back. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand, that's how Esau deal with us. Once they get to a certain level, once they already got their mind set on whatever wickedness they have planned for us, it's going to take God to turn their hand from the wickedness that they have planned for us, right? For the wicked desires of their heart towards us. Like that.
A false accusation of a black man who needed to be put in his place at the end of a rope. The Tulsa Tribune reported,
"A Negro assaults a white girl.
and later,
To lynch Negro tonight."
with no basis in fact for the allegations of rape, the mob persisted in their demand for justice of a white girl who emphatically stated that no injustice had been done. Walter White of the New York Evening Post wrote,
Chief of Police John A. Gustafson, Sheriff McCullough, Mayor T.D. Evans, and a number of reputable citizens, among them prominent oil operator, all declared the girl had not been molested, that no attempt at criminal assault had been made. Victor F. Barnett, managing editor of the Tribune, stated that his paper had since learned that the original story that the girl's face was scratched and her clothes torn was untrue.
And there you have it. Fake news. But the damage had already been done, and the wheels were set in motion. Armed black World War I veterans were among the less than 100 members of the Greenwood community who came to prevent another lynching of a black man, as thousands had been lynched since the generation of Reconstruction. A verbal confrontation led to a shock.
Look, so these brothers are war veterans, and they're Americans, right? So they're just taking up arms to defend a innocent young man, right? Before these ravenous heathens go and lynch and murder this boy, right? But that's the whole point. Black people acting like you're an American is not the way to go. See what I'm saying? Acting like you're an American is gonna fail you every time. The Constitution, the laws that were written for whites and immigrants that are coming and are invited by America to oppress us, those laws don't really stand for us. They work for us when they work for us, but at the drop of a dime, those laws can be reversed on us and thrown out the window. See what I'm saying? That's why we should always remember the situation and where we're at, which I'm not saying those brothers didn't, because I believe those brothers understood what was going to happen, and they had that war training, and they was ready to go and try to keep things from de-escalating. But listen, black men brandishing guns against Edomites, that never has been a good idea in America. See what I'm saying? They don't love us and they don't value our life. They'll kill us at the drop of a dime. They was going to kill one boy. Some brothers put their guns together, right? That's why I be talking about the not fucking around coalition. Those people are crazy. We not finna get up and bear arms against the white man and do nothing. It just don't work like that. See what I'm saying? So you got to remember that they went to kill one boy and then they ended up destroying a whole settlement, a whole town. See what I'm saying? That's the type of compassion they have for us in their heart. We have to always remember that. We're not part of this system. It's not for us. It'll kill us and scrape us straight to the side at the drop of a dime. But
Not being fired, triggering what would soon become the most bloody racial conflict in American history. Some 500 members of the white mob were armed and deputized by city officials, and those who didn't own weapons looted stores to obtain guns and ammunition along the way. Thousands of angry white men descended upon Little Africa, as a few white families provided sanctuary to those fleeing from violence. Over the course of 24 hours, the mob looted, murdered, and razed the wealthiest black city in America to the ground.
boom. So right there, that quick. The wealthiest black city was razed. It's funny he said raised, right? They said raise it unto the ground, right? That's how these Edomites feel about us. But the coldest part is that was the wealthiest black city. But the way that the money was turning over in Black Wall Street, it was really one of the wealthiest cities in America, if not the wealthiest city in America. So when we look at wealth and how it's distributed in the world, the reparations they want to give black people is they want to give you legal. They don't even want to give you money. But I'm saying the best that brothers is asking for is legal tender, right? How does that repair what they did to us? Some money is not wealth. Wealth is resources, right? And utilities. That's wealth. You know what I'm saying? Energy. Wealth, people as assets. Wealth is these different assets that drive the world. Wealth is not paying black people some money and we're not even financially literate, right? Our goals shouldn't be being rich in captivity and financial literacy. I mean, what's the logic in that? In getting rich in the American dollar and the whole world is working to spike the American dollar. See what I'm saying? It don't even make sense. But they'll offer it to us and they'll bring up these topics in Congress and stuff to appease niggas. That's all they want to do is appease niggas. See what I'm saying? Because they still killing us. We're still being experimented on. No amount of money is going to stop that because our problem isn't a financial problem. There's rich niggas. Rich niggas get discriminated against just like the poor ones. See what I'm saying? Play that.
Eyewitness testimony stated a dozen or more planes circled the black area, dropping burning turpentine balls over the city of Greenwood and firing bullets at black residents young and old, gunning them down in the streets. It was the first and only time Americans used planes to attack and kill its own citizens, as it destroyed an entire...
Look, another first. It was the worst. It was the worst massacre in America, right? The first time that planes were commissioned to kill Americans, right? They dropped burning balls of turpentine, basically napalmed this place, right? And just set everything on fire. You know what I'm saying? Without any regard for human life. First time this ever happened. Play it.
City. Authorities engaged in a concerted effort to prevent help from arriving until considerable damage was done by cutting off communication, requesting help, blocking transportation ways of firefighters and ambulances, and even preventing the Red Cross from coming in earlier to help the injured and terrorized community.
And that's the coldest part.
City's most traveled.
Because the authorities were stopping the help from coming, right? There was you weren't finna get no medical attention, none of that. You know what I'm saying? It's just a harsh reality that we live in, that the same people killing you is the same people that we're seeking help from, right? It doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? And it just so happened to be Edomites who were blocking the Red Cross and the help. And these were the authorities, though. This wasn't the mobs. These are the authorities. These are the people that are in official positions stopping the help from coming. You can give me that for a second. Second language. 4-6. You want to do that? Y'all got to understand, though. That's what it's like being in the hands of Esau. You know what I'm saying? That's why this is the last captivity, because they're to the max.
This is Second Maccabees, right?
Yeah, it is.
This is Second Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 6. For he saw that it was impossible that the state should continue quiet, and Simon leave his folly unless the king did look thereunto.
That was it?
Yeah.
Second language?
Yeah.
Oh, 4:16. 4:16.
This is Second Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse 16. By reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose customs they follow so earnestly, and unto whom they desire to be like in all things.
So yeah, that was the same problem that the Maccabees were faced with, that the people who were their enemies were the people that were set up, that were supposed to bring justice to them and protect them, right? But that's why the sword calamity fell upon them all the time, because the people that hate you can't be the people that's supposed to protect you. That's just not how it works. It's never gonna work like that. You know what I'm saying? The fact that the lady even came out and said that, oh, he attacked her, assaulted her, and then she's quick to turn around and say, oh no, it didn't really happen. But the problem had already spread, because those were our enemies, right? Those people aren't caring about us. They're looking for any chance to harm us and do wrong to us. And that's been proven throughout history. See what I'm saying? So, you know, we have to always be mindful that these people are looking for a reason to destroy us. So then you have to consider, well, why the hell would they even want to give us reparations, right? It's got to be some elaborate plot for them to be able to either say, what, they gave us reparations, so now they don't owe us, and now we have to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, right? Because they did repair the situation, or they're just giving us a bunch of money or offering a bunch of money because they know the dollar is collapsing anyway. I don't know what reasons they have for the weirdness, but I know that the so-called ADOS, right? Making a bunch of ADOS rich, that's not gonna affect our condition, and it's not gonna deliver us. See what I'm saying? But in Greenwood, in that town of Greenwood, they had about 600 businesses, right? I know they had like 30 grocery stores. They had their own private airplanes. You didn't see black people in Greenwood. You didn't see them flying their airplanes to go to war, right? It wasn't even that type of party. But if you want to prorate 600 businesses from 1921, does that get included in the loss of reparations in the deal, or are they just allocating the 40 acres and a mule, right? That's the point. That's when you think of economics, I mean, they couldn't even tally up what they owe us, right? That's why we trying to get it back in blood. So that's where our mind is. That don't mean we're gonna run out to go shoot guns at random white people, because that doesn't make sense. We're gonna get it back in blood by coming back to our heritage, right? We're gonna get it back in blood by being delivered by the Most High God. Let's wait for the Lord to send a Savior, right? That way we can be delivered out the hands of our enemies, rather than follow a bunch of brothers that's in the folly to our own destruction, right? We were put in the hands of our enemies, so therefore we're going to be delivered out the hands of our enemies. That's the way the process works. We have to be mindful of that. If brothers get rich, like I said, I would take the money. I wouldn't have a problem taking the money, but I would be mindful of where's the trick coming next. Where they going to try to pull the wool over our eyes. That's how I'm always looking at the so-called white man, because Esau is the devil. Let's get that. Leviticus 26, start 31. Because you got to understand, it was told to us that it would be like this. You know what I'm saying? Look, Read that out.
This is Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 31.
Wait for it, guys. Put up a picture.
And I will make your cities waste and bring your sanctuaries unto desolation. And I will not smell the savior of your sweet odors.
Savor.
Salaki. Hebrew.
Well, yeah, right. Their sanctuary is going to be destroyed. Listen, they had about 30 churches or something in Black Wall Street, right? We know those were churches to the image of the beast and the doctrine of white supremacy, but that was still their sanctuaries, right? That was supposed to be their houses of the Lord. Although really that's just talking about houses, but they had churches in there and all that stuff went up in smoke. All that stuff was destroyed. You already got it.
Verse 32. And I will bring the land into desolation, and your enemies which dwell therein shall be astonished at it. And I will scatter you among the heathen, and will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste.
And that's exactly what happened. The city was wasted and the land was left desolate. I don't know the number, but it's something like 1,500 graves that they don't even know. They're not even marked because they built something like a freeway or a highway over all the graves of a lot of when they found a spot to bury the people from Tulsa. A lot of those graves got just covered up with a highway, right? So now when you go and you see the cemetery that's a memorial, you're missing a big chunk of the victims, right? And their bodies weren't even respectfully moved, you know what I'm saying, in a proper burial.
At that, it was a few mass burial sites at that.
Yeah, come.
They just dug a big old hole.
Yeah, just big bodies, just dug a big old hole, trenched them. That's the type of regard that these Edomites have for us. But you got to understand, that is a recompense for our wickedness, right? Who knows what type of sin they was in Greenfield, right? That don't make it right what the Edomites was doing, but we have to understand the way to repair the damage and the way to get the get back from the damage is to follow the program. The program is to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments so we can be blessed out of our condition, not to be wicked niggas trying to play the white man's game. That ain't never did no good for us. It's not going to start to do good for us. You know what I'm saying? But over the years, racism in America has always been like so-called black inequality has always been something in America, from Board versus Brown, right? And inequality, right? You have to understand that it's always been a system that was based on us being at the bottom. So in that first video, he was saying the whites didn't like seeing niggas being so prosperous. The thing is, that's because their whole system is based on us being at the bottom. Wealth is distributed today away from Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. We don't own the utilities, right? We don't own sources of power. We don't own large natural resources. That's why the Native Americans got played. You know what I'm saying? They drove them into some of the least productive lands in America, right? And then try to run a pipeline through them, right? Listen, because and what they do, they threw a lot of money at them. Now I know they say a lot of $5 Indians are really the recipients of a lot of the funding and a lot of positions of power, right, in some of these tribes. But the point is that they take away the wealth and just throw a lot of money at you. That's what Esau does. That has never That has never been something that's productive for us. That's why you don't see the Most High promising us to have a bunch of money, right? The nations will bring their wealth from their resources and their gold and fine things, but you don't see in the promises, right? Or oh yeah, God's just gonna make you a nigga that got a bunch of money, right? Because we're not even that type of a people. Our wealth is in our relations, right? Our wealth is in our families, right? Our wealth is from the land, the rain, and yes, we will have the possessions of the other nations and the spoils of the other nations brought to us, but we're not even going to have the same type of system in the world. This whole fiat currency is a facade to keep the white man in power. That has nothing to do with how the kingdom will be run. You know what I'm saying? We're going to actually have order and structure, and things will be right. You know, we got to be mindful of all those things. But in the racism that has plagued us, it's been a system designed to keep us down. So now we've been down so long, we're going crazy trying to get up financially. And they know that most young minorities just want to grow up and sing and play sports and be actors and basically be famous for the riches attached to celebrity profile. You know what I'm saying? And that shows.
Yeah, precept.
Oh yeah, bring it out.
Lamentations 4:17.
Oh yeah, you can bring it out.
Right. This is Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come.
Yeah, see, we're destroyed, and that's the type of mind that really all the other nations have towards us, right? We're looking for them to help us, but the way they move is to destroy us, right? That's because we're crazy. Literally, we are a nation of insane people. The whole head is sick. You know what I'm saying? Get that Ecclesiastes 7:7. You got to understand, we've been mistreated and disrespected for so long that we're crazy from it. You understand? And that's why some brothers lash out, some brothers is ready to turn up. But to what end, right? I have no objection to brothers that have it in their heart to go against their enemies, but when it comes to for what, we're not gonna beat the so-called white man and his tanks and his bombs and his poison and his ability to cut off the resources and starve you out. We're not gonna shoot that out. That's why we're not looking for a spot on his board to play his game. We looking for the Most High to wipe his board out the game. Read that.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart.
See, oppression will make you mad, angry, right? But oppression will make you crazy, right? Oppression will cause you to have post-traumatic stress disorder, right? And then you'll move outside of psychological awareness. See how that works? So oppression will make a wise man mad, but a gift destroys the heart. So as much as we are gone loopy in America for the way we've been treated, and is angry and ready to be in an uproar, if they give us that gift, that's going to pacify a lot of people. Not to mention, we need to be we need to be angry. We need to want to go against our oppressors, but we still need to follow the guidelines that was given to us. See what I'm saying? That's the whole point.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart, and thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
See what I'm saying? You got to understand, we've been made crazy. That's part of the curses for breaking the law, right? He's going to make us crazy and blind to where, man, we reaching for no reason. But you got to understand, we've been destroyed in this captivity. That's why, to repair it, the reparations, we should be building outside of the cause that got us to go into captivity. Give me that First Kings 8. Okay. Hey, break bread and bill. Yabashim Shabbat Shalom. Start at 44. First Kings 8:44.
This is 1 Kings chapter 8 and verse 44. If thy people go out to battle against their enemy, whithersoever thou shalt send them, and shall pray unto the Lord towards the city which thou hast chosen, and towards the house that I have built for thy name, then hear thou in heaven their prayer and their supplication, and maintain their cause.
Right? So right here, we're seeing that if our people go out into battle, it's not about the weapons we got. It's not about the numbers. It's about us calling on Yahweh, and he will hear us, right? That's how we fight. That's what it's all about. It's about us coming back to the Most High so that he can fight for us. Read.
Verse 46. If they sin against thee, for there is no man that sinneth not, and thou be angry with them, and deliver them to the enemy, so that they carry them away captives unto the land of the enemy, far or near.
So watch. If we sin, this is how we got in this position. If we sin, and he send an enemy on us, and they carry us away captive, no matter where, read.
Verse 47. Yet if they shall bethink themselves in the land whither they were carried captives, and repent and make supplication unto thee in the land of them that carried them captives.
Now watch. So boom. If we were getting ready to fight a war, right? Let's go back to 44. If we were getting, not you, but I'm saying, I'm gonna recap.
Go.
If we were gonna fight a war and we called on the Lord, he would fight for us, right? That was the message. But if we were sinners and we were taken captive and carried away captive, then we would be carried away captive for being sinners. He would have sent a nation to carry us away, near or far from Jerusalem, right? But if we would bethink ourselves and pray to him and make supplication to him, right? That's what we're supposed to do in this situation. We're not a nation that's ready to fight our enemies. We don't have a flag. We don't have a land. We don't even have a goddamn national identity. We are the blacks, the niggas, the spics, the essays, right? The natives. But we're not the Israelites. We're not even a nation. We're not attached or associated to a landmass. We have no resources. So we're not in a position to be going to war, right? That didn't happen for us. That's not going to happen for us right now. We were the wicked niggas that were sold to our enemies, that went into captivity, right? That should be coming back to serving our God. Read. No, 46.
46. This is 1 Kings chapter 8 and verse 46. If they sin against thee, for if they sin against thee, for there is no man that sinneth not, and thou be angry with them, and deliver them to the enemy, so that they carry them away captives unto the land of the enemy, far or near. Yet if they shall bethink themselves in the land whither they were carried captives, and repent, and make supplication unto thee in the land of them that carried them captives,
That's where we at, in the land where we were carried captive.
saying, we have sinned and have done perversely, we have committed wickedness, and so return unto thee with all thy heart, or with all their heart, and with all their soul, in the land of their enemies, which led them away captive, and pray unto thee towards their land, which thou gavest unto their fathers, the city which thou hast chosen, and the house which I have built for thy name.
Right? So we pray, right, toward the east, toward the house he built for his name, which is the temple in Jerusalem, right? If we pray to the God of our fathers, read 49.
It's 1 Kings 8 and 49. Then hear thou their prayer and their supplication in heaven, thy dwelling place, and maintain their cause, and forgive thy people that have sinned against thee, and all their transgressions wherein they have transgressed against thee, and give them compassion before them who carried them captive, that they may have compassion on them.
Now watch. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for salvation and mercy. And how do we obtain it? How do we obtain it? By seeking the Lord and repenting. It's crazy how we're reading repentance in the Old Testament, right? The so-called Old Testament, because that's what it's all about. The Most High never changed the basis on how we get right with God, or really how we get right in the earth. What we supposed to be doing is coming to the Most High so he can maintain our cause. It's not really hey, Shalom, Jeremiah Rossborough. It's not really hard. All we have to do is come back to the Most High, and that's how we'll be restored. That's how we'll be brought. Keep reading.
Verse 51. For they be thy people and thy inheritance, which thou broughtest forth out of Egypt from the midst of the furnace of iron.
So boom, we were the ones that were brought out that iron furnace, right? Out of Montazarium. You got to understand, that's where we're at right now, in Egypt. But we're the Most High's people. We're his inheritance. What comes with that? The land, the rain, the cattle, big above all the people. That peaceful, fulfilled life, right? And that is, we weren't even in that state when they came and got us off the Gold Coast and the Ivory Coast, right? When we were brought into slavery, we weren't living it up on the coast of Africa. You know what I'm saying? We were just regular. We were having civil wars. We were regular. We were just like the heathen, right? You got to understand. If they restored us back to that, shit, they could go drop us off in the middle of Africa with nothing. We didn't really have any infrastructure, right? We hadn't been there that long. We had been there a few centuries, right? We had been there a few centuries because we were the ones traveling all around. Matter of fact, hold that Michael 4. You got to understand what the Most High is promising us is to turn to him. And he's going to look out for us. And he's going to put us where we're supposed to be. When we were taken into captivity, we weren't where we were supposed to be. We were exiled from the land for our wickedness, right? We're in America right now, and we can't grow past the status quo. And the status quo is established for us, and we can't grow past it for our wickedness. That's why we need to come back. We need to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments so the Most High can repair us, so He can deliver us up out of this. Read that.
From the top.
Yeah, read from the top. Read 10 first, because that was the point I was making about being on the West Coast of Africa. Read Micah 4.
This is Micah chapter 4 and verse 10. Be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail, for now shalt thou go forth out of the city.
So that was us getting kicked out of Jerusalem, right? Go forth out of the city. Read.
And thou shalt dwell in the field, and thou shalt go even to Babylon.
So boom. In the field is us going into the interiors of Africa, right? And then from the interiors of Africa, we'll go into Babylon, or Mystery Babylon, America, right? But the coldest part is we were exiled from the city. We were told we would be, we'll have the labor pains, and then we'll go out of the city. So if Esau restores us to where he got us from, he just got to put us back in the field. See what I'm saying? We don't want to go back to the field. We want to go back to the city. That's the point I'm making. Esau didn't find us in a glorified state, in a glorious state. He found us on our way down. He found us wallowing in the mud amongst the heathen. And guess what? He brought us into America and did it on us. You know what I'm saying? And he's been doing it to us the whole time. So we need to come up out of thinking that he owes us the kingdom. Esau don't owe us the kingdom. Where he found us, if he put us back there, half of us will want to come back to America. See what I'm saying? The mind state that we have right now, we're not in a position to govern and rule ourselves, but that's what we should all want. I just seen Godfrey on that Vlad interview, right? Who should I think the brother Yaquab out of Houston? I think he posted that on Facebook, right? And I was just tripping on how it's a fact that everybody knows we're mistreated and marginalized in America. But the thing is, are we mentally in the right place to rule each other? Could you imagine if we had our own country and Bloods and Crips had states? I'm talking figuratively. Norteños and Sureños had whole states. It would be crazy, right? We need the law, statutes, and commandments to govern us. And that's what it's going to take for us to be in our right mind, for us to govern ourselves, right? But speaking of reparations, like I said, we want it back in blood anyway. That's what I'm looking for. Reparations in blood. Let me get that in Nahum 1. That cat. I believe 1 and 2, right? 1 and 2, yeah. And then you're just gonna get 1 because I wanted so we can know. It's talking about Nineveh, right? 2 is the final one there.
This is Nahum chapter 1 and verse from the top. The burden of Nineveh, the book of the vision of Nahum the Elkoshite.
So boom, this is talking about Nineveh, right? Which was the capital of Assyria, right? So you got to understand, we in captivity. Let's see what the Most High got to say about it.
Verse 2. God is jealous, and the Lord revengeth The Lord revenges and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies.
Listen, Esau is the vessels fitted unto destruction, right? We're in Esau's hand. He's already reserved wrath for his enemies. See what I'm saying? So we have to understand that. He's already got it spelled out. All we have to do is play our part to get right with the Most High so he can deliver us up out the hand of our enemies. I don't know how many times I got to reiterate it and say it, right? But that's what it's about. Let me get that in Isaiah 34.
Verse 2.
Start from the top.
This is Isaiah chapter 34 from the top. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it.
Everybody needs to know this. Every goddamn body. Nobody is exempt from needing to know this. Everybody should hear about this. Read.
Verse 2. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter.
Listen, the Lord have indignation with everybody, right? With all his enemies. Rightfully so, because we know the Most High is just. Keep reading.
Verse 3. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood.
Yeah, it's going to be a funky day, and the mountains and hills are going to be covered in their blood. Read.
And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll.
That's the thermonuclear destruction we be talking about. When we be talking about that nimbus, right, and the heavens being rolled up as a scroll, that's that big cloud, right? And the heavens dissolve. That's that boom, right? That's what they coming for. We got to understand, this was foretold since the beginning, right? Before people knew what thermonuclear energy was, the Most High had a plan, right? He had a plan for the Smith to create a perfect weapon for their destruction. Keep reading. We'll bring that out. Keep reading.
And all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heat and heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment.
So right there, the Bible is saying that the Idumeans are the people cursed to Yahweh's judgment, right? And we understand that the captivity, the fourth beast was going to be the last captivity. We understand that Esau is the end of the world, right? So we know that Idumea, that's the people who got God's people. That's the people that were already designated for the destruction. That just so happens to be America. Keep reading.
Verse 6. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord have a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea.
Yeah, it's going to be all those. That's just comparing the kidneys and the fat to a sacrifice, right? Keep reading.
Verse 7. And the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood.
So the wild oxes and the bulls, right? Keep reading.
And their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion.
So once again, these people were designated to destruction for the controversy of the house of the Lord, of the people of the Lord, right? For Zion. Read.
And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever.
That is reparations, right? We were the chosen people of the Most High, established to shine the light on the world, to give the order, right? For the instruction of the whole world. We were taken out of that position, kicked out of the land. We were made the slaves. We were made the low. Our enemies ruled over us with rigor, as you've seen in the video we played about the Greenwood neighborhood in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1921, right? Black Wall Street, it's all commonly known as. That was the switch, the switcheroo, right? We were the lords, we were made the slaves. The Most High is going to destroy the fake lords and take us up out of our slavery. They won't even be the slaves. They're going to be wiped out. Keep reading.
Verse 11. But the cormorant, and the bittern shall possess it. The owl also and the raven shall dwell in it, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness.
So it's just gonna be wild animals. That's all that's gonna be out here. Wild animals, because it ain't gonna be nothing out here. No civilization, no life. Just a bunch of wild animals. Yep.
Verse 12. They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all her princes shall be nothing.
Listen, you could look for them, but they won't exist. That is the punishment that was designated for Idumea, according to the controversy in Zion, for what they did to us. And you got to remember, the same people who have us in captivity now are the same people that kicked us out the land, right? They're the same people who occupied us. They're the same people who was occupying us in the year of our Lord. Understand that. It's the same government that was established when Yahushua was sacrificed. It's the same people ruling now. Now, they had their ups and downs, their peaks and their valleys. They kind of went out of power for a while. They came back. By the time they came back, they set everything up. We did 500 years, roughly 500 years in this captivity. They're going to be destroyed. The remnant of them is going to have to serve up that double cut, right? They're going to do 1,000 years of hard labor, right? Hard labor. Then they're going to be ultimately wiped off the face of the earth. Keep reading.
Verse 13. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in the fortresses thereof, fortresses thereof, and it shall be an habitation of dragons and a court for owls.
So all these nice places, right? All these really pretty buildings and stuff, man, it's going to be roots and thorns and thistles growing through there. And once again, wild beasts, because that's the only life going to be within it, a earshot. Just jump down to 16, because I figured everybody got the point of that. Just jump down to 16.
This is Isaiah chapter 34 and verse 16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail.
And that's what we're trying to tell our people. The prophecy, the word has never failed. This the only really perfect thing you could find in the world is the word of the Lord, right? They got perfect diamonds, they come close to perfection, but it's not as perfect as this word. This word is perfect throughout time. These prophecies have never let us down. That's why there's no comparing what we're doing to other black movements throughout history. Although I must say, black movements throughout history have shaped the political landscape for us to always be against the typical American politics. Although you got a lot of coon ass niggas that want to get into American politics. When you look back at how real black politics have gone down in the Americas, our biggest movements were rebellions, straight like that. See what I'm saying? Black Republicans and all that hogwash and garbage. That's not really a thing. That's part of a brainwash, right? When it comes to how we get down as black people, like I said, black people, like a lot of my friends growing up, we knew that you know what I'm saying? I mean, when I was a kid, they said you couldn't even date a white girl. Like, don't be bringing no white girls home to my house. They used to say that, right? Am I lying? Come on, Kashak, you my age.
Your mama, for sure.
Yeah, your mama for sure was. And now daddy was like, you better go find you a white girl. Just don't bring her home, right? But the point is, we always knew, we have it inherently written in us that there are enemies, right? They always did us bad. But you got to realize that all those black movements weren't sustained. The reason we're not Garveyites, and the reason the Black Panther Party collapsed, and even though they've been reinvigorated, black people are not moving on that speed. The whole Egyptomania and the Kemetic, really Pan-Africanism, that would never work, because all the Hamite establishments that not fucking with us. See what I'm saying? So we can be Pan-African, but it would just be more African civil wars, right? You would never, no one's gonna ever unite Africa. Just know that. Till Yahushua come back and then they all be in subjection to the Israelites. The point is, none of these have failed. All this prophecy, all this instruction, all this wisdom has never been a letdown. We the ones who usually can't keep up with it. Read.
Yeah,
Yep. Read.
This is Isaiah chapter 34 and verse 16. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. And he hath cast a lot for them, and his hand hath divided it unto them by line. They shall possess it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein.
Right. So Israel is the one who's going to get the inheritance, not everybody else. Real quick, get that 2 Peter 3 and 10. So we're going to sum all that up, in a few short words.
This is 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up.
Listen, Babylon gonna be destroyed by fire. Ain't no way around it. Like a tunes.
This is Micah chapter 2 and verse 10. This is Micah chapter 2 and verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction.
Listen, this ain't our rest, so whatever they offer us is not gonna really comfort us. Like I said, I'm gonna take a check, but it's not gonna shape my mind to believe that our goal still shouldn't be to separate from the ideologies and the practices of Babylon. No matter what they offer us, no matter what they're gonna give us, remember, they're not giving it to us for our comfort. They're giving it to us to pacify us, to appease us, so they can keep marching us down that alley where they've been beating our ass for 500 years, right? You gotta understand that. Get Wisdom of Solomon 6. We're gonna get Wisdom of Solomon 6. You gotta understand. Whatever they offer us, whatever they give us, it ain't enough. I'm just gonna say it. It ain't enough, and it ain't worth it. And then, matter of fact, get Isaiah 51 first. That's how we do that. Get Isaiah 51. So.
Or 50? I think it's 50.
Yeah. It's 52. Also 52. No, get in 52 and 3. 52 and 3. Yeah, 52 and 3. That's right.
This is Isaiah chapter 52 and verse 3. For thus saith the Lord, ye have sold yourselves for naught, and ye shall be redeemed without money.
So bang, that's the real point. What I was presenting this whole time was, it was the hand of the Lord that been on us for all the destruction, right? So reparations has to come from him. But when we take a deep look into it, of us accepting the law and that the man who don't continue in the law will be cursed, right? We sold ourselves by living unlawful. So it's on us to do the work to get back into grace. Now get Wisdom of Solomon 6 and 20. I'll wait for him.
This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 6 and verse 20. Therefore, the desire of wisdom bringeth to a kingdom.
You got to understand that. The wisdom, us practicing and keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, that's our wisdom, the law. Now coupled with faith in Yahushua, because following after the words of Yahushua is in the law, right? But the law ultimately is our wisdom, and wisdom bringeth to a kingdom. That's how we get reparations, by coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments. And with that, I want to give call on Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, and Shalom.
Shalom.